You know what I mean? And so this is responding to some of these questions. We've got these ideological positions before the world creation, because those commitments that we make will drive the creation of the thing. It's not just making the thing; it's what makes the thing possible, right? I have never seen, and we got a couple kids here, and we often provide crayons and pencils and things to work with, but I've got kids who are building entire ways of thinking, knowing, and being, entire worlds on a piece of paper, worlds they want to see on their terms. I don't tell them anything. We have grown-ups. I call them grown-ups. We have grown-ups, and we say your job is to. We take them through an improv class or improv group, and we say this. We say your job is to say yes and, not yeah but. Your job is to say yes and. Like when you were a kid. Remember when you were a kid and you used to be playing games outside and you'd be like, oh, but what if this happened? Oh, yeah, but what if this happened? Okay, but what if we did this? What if? That was how you envisioned worlds. And you always had that one friend. And if you didn't have that friend, you were that friend that was like, yeah, well, it's not really how science. Oh my God, dude. And you boo him. But you need him. You need him there to keep you grounded. But you're like, oh man, look, lightsabers are pretend. They could do anything you want. All right, cool. And there's no one way to go about it. We source a bunch of stuff. We have sewing machines and we have artifacts, but we've got kids who put in work. These three folks down here, they right now all want to be comic book artists. And that they wanted to do that before, but that is the face of folks who are putting in work. And it's kind of, right. They are they are focused. Well, why are kids acting out? Look, all I did was give them one pen. All I need is one mic. I gave him a what is that? A Mountain Dew and some paper and a pencil, and they went to work. Why? It's not graded. It is meaningful. And they built this whole beautiful world around the zodiac, not the signs. I had to be real careful. Hello, internet. This is forever. Right? It's like, oh, so each one has like, the Gemini has like, it's like this, so he has these powers, and the Taurus, right? And y'all know this. Y'all take it Facebook quizzes. Y'all take, oh, my Taurus energy is right, my big Libra energy, or whatever. They took that and built a whole world, built a whole super group around it, because that was their friends, and they knew together they were gonna solve. And they had this whole mythology that climate change was never solved, so they had to go to another planet. And it was brilliant. It was brilliant. I wish that I had come up with it when I was that young. But we have, and I'll show you what this can look like. So we've got this black and white picture. Can we go forward maybe 2 more slides? Yeah, there we go. And this is, right now, we talked about this, we use Midjourney. Midjourney scrapes the internet. We're going to talk about data for public good. It scrapes that which exists. Midjourney can't imagine a thing. Midjourney can't imagine a thing. And it's brilliant because if you look and you go to, it's on Discord. You can go on Discord, and you know what the command is? It's the command. The command is / what is it? Imagine. Midjourney, robot. You're not imagining anything, not without me. And it scrapes the internet, but it scrapes, this is the data for public good, the AI, all this stuff. It scrapes what exists, but that's a technology, and a technology can be hacked. Now, how do you hack it? You scan, remember that drawing from before? You can upload stuff to Midjourney. You can now it becomes part of the bloodstream, but you can. This right here is, yes, a product of Midjourney. It's got that Midjourney feel to it. That's okay, because it's a tool. It's a tool for imagining. And this is, yes, it's scraped from some of the things, but we also scanned that image and said, okay, let's add this into it. Let's add yours in. And are there concerns? Are there questions? Absolutely. But how are you going to reimagine? You got to get in the mix. You got to get in the bloodstream of this thing. Because I will tell you, this ain't going anyplace. And so the question is not what not is the technology going somewhere. The question is who's using it. The question is how are those remember how we had the Coca-Cola company owning water? Okay. What is it? What is being envisioned and who's envisioning it? Ruha Benjamin does an amazing job of this. If you're not familiar with her work, she does a brilliant job. But what we did was we took this, which she wrote. Now you'll notice I didn't. This is just. I told her she looked like she planning some sort of heist. Right, because this is just organized noise. Right? But she knew she could make sense of it. And that's what imagining can help us do. It can help us make sense of the world. So she's coming up with these ideas, right? And the first thing she told me is she goes, I used to have good ideas. I was like, you're in middle school. You barely have a used to. How are you? And she said, well, I don't ever get a chance to do it in school. I used to have good ideas. That was the past. And I said, you still have good ideas. And I said, and we talked about this. She said, I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything. And I said, why? And she goes, I'm afraid. I'm nervous. What if I do it wrong? What if I imagine wrong? And that's not on them. That's on us. That's on us as educators, as community members. You can't imagine wrong, baby. Go for it. Do it. I don't have no paper. Flip that paper over. Oh, I don't got nothing to write with. Here's a pencil. All you need is a piece of paper and scratch paper. And then she went to work. Once the space was safe for her to imagine. And that's on us. And you can do that wherever people are. You don't have to have a laser cutter. You don't have to have, like Midjourney's free. I pay for it, but that's because I use it a lot because I use it in my work. But it's an accessible. We can use technology to democratize things, but we also got to make sure that we don't get caught up on the new shiny thing, right? So we put all this stuff on the cloud so they can access it. They can access it wherever they are on their phones, et cetera, et cetera. But we uploaded this, and these were the keywords. And what we said was, hey, and this is where the literacy component comes in. We say, hey. You want to put all this because we're gonna do a fancy computer thing. You want to use all of those? They say, oh, I don't want to use all those. And the first thing we said before we upload anything into the computer, tell us her story. Tell us her story. This person that she created. And it's a vision of herself. It's an imagined self, right? And look what she Misty Walker. I love that's such like a comic book name. Misty Knight from the old Marvel comics, right? Misty Walker. And the reason she called her Walker is because she dream walks. She walks in dreams. Ooh, that sounds poetic. That's because it's from a poem, right? And she brought in juju. Now, that's not magic. That's not magic. Juju is not, well, it is magic, but it's a specific kind. That's a specific kind. It's a kind of magic. That's a Queen song, but it's also true. You know what I mean? Juju is intentional, right? She has the power to daydream and communicate with her ancestors. You ever have? You've done that. That's powerful. There's power in dreams. She's communicating with the ancestors. It came to me in a dream. Talk about that's a religious tradition. That's a cultural tradition. That's a personal tradition. That's personal experience. There's legacy work there. And she called it the maladaptive dream state. And she said that's what the doctors prescribed it as. And we think about what the literature says about folks who are over policed, over medicated, over pathologized. Oh, you got a behavior disorder. Oh, you got a learning disorder. Oh, you got a this. No, 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 no. According to your framework, maybe, but not according to life. So she brought that into this character's story because she's trying to tell us her story as well, right? She can communicate what she learns through music and passes on wisdom and emotion in her lyrics. Now, if you were of a certain age, I remember when we didn't even call it hip hop. It's 50 years or so old, but you can communicate through music, and that's what students do. Now, she's a big K-pop fan, which is okay. And like I said, I understand because I don't get it, but I know you love it, so go off. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's me. I'm not judging, but that's the thing. I can't judge it. I can't. Let me tell you about real music. When I was your age, when you were my age, you couldn't be on the phone and the computer at the same time. Now they're the same thing, right? So we got to be open to it. We got to be open to the genius of our youth, right? And see what they're trying to tell us. She writes her lyrics in her journal. Any MC you talk to is going to have a rhyme book. It's that composition notebook you buy for $1 at Walgreens or wherever. Oh, look, you got one too. Graciously provided you got a dream, you got and you pay a premium and they call it a dream journal. Gwyneth Paltrow will sell you one. Dream journal. Yeah, that's a rhyme book as well, right? The longer she stays, this blew my, we talking about knock my socks off. The longer she stays in her dreams, the stronger she becomes there, but the weaker her physical body becomes. And I said, what is that? And she goes, magic comes at a price. And I was like, oh, you saw Doctor Strange. Okay. So there was still some of that was there, but she said she has to attend to her physical well-being. And if she doesn't, it doesn't matter how strong her mind gets. And I was like, oh, and I didn't do any of this. All I did was, here's what I did. Tell me her story. That's what I did. The story was already there. She uses a talking drum. Are you kidding me? She's like, she doesn't use any drum. I was like, she used it. I said, oh, she used like a drum machine? She goes, drum machine? No, she used a talking drum. And I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, cool. Why? Because how else did ancestors communicate? That's the whole point. Here's the punchline. People think she's unreliable and has wasted potential. But she will prove them wrong and change the city. Not save the city, change the city. I wrote that verbatim. Change the city. So all you need is an open mind and open ears. And you asked earlier, what resources can you provide? The space. How do you do this? You get a good teacher in the space. And the good teacher welcomes those students in their full selves. Wherever it is, after school program, language arts, math class. This is STEAM like you wouldn't believe. It can exist wherever dreams can exist. And that's really what we want to talk, that's really what the punchline is. This can happen wherever dreams can exist. Oh, I don't have the funding. You don't need funding. All you need is one mic. Oh, well, that's cool, but I don't have a laser printer. You don't need a laser printer. You need a crayon. A crayon and an open mind. That's it. That's what you need. And the last thing you need is a community. You need people. You need grown-ups in the room. You need young people in the room. And you need love in the room. So that's how you do this. People ask me, how do you do this? That's how you do it. I'm happy to talk with y'all some more later, but they're telling me I got to stop. So they said wrap it up, so that's me. I appreciate y'all, and feel free to reach out to me at any time. Oh, I got 5 for Q&A? Oh, now y'all in real trouble. Yeah, so I don't know, does that make sense? Y'all got questions? I got 5, I think you got me 5 minutes. Yeah. Oh, we'll go here first and then there? Yeah. You got to say it into the mic, though, because they got to hear you on the internet.
Thank you for your talk. I'm a dance teacher, and I teach between ages like 2 and 17, but in particular, the team that I coach, they're around 7 to 11 years old. How do we remedy kids who feel like at that very, very young age, that their capacity for imagination has already been squashed.
That's it. Let them move. Let them move. It doesn't matter if they dance like Elaine from Seinfeld. Let's let them move. It doesn't matter, right, if they dance like Napoleon Dynamite. One of the things, and dance is a huge, we actually have, I'll give you an example. We had a student who invented a language. What we did is we tied LED lights to her fingers and toes, to her pointer fingers and her toes, and then we had her dance, because she was a dancer, and then we did that stop motion photography. She did African, traditional sort of African dance, because she's from Nigeria. And then we took those photos, and then she made a language out of that. It was just the pictures, and she said, okay, when I'm feeling happy, this is, right? And it was a character-based language. It was a non-Western. It wasn't like, this is an A, and this is a Y. It was a character-based language, a movement-based language. So the creativity came out physically. It was an embodied kind of creativity. But we got to just support the kids. We got to just say, no, you are creative. I've got a kid who said, I hate creative writing. I said, how do you hate creative writing? He's like, it's hard, because he had already absorbed the notion that writing was easy. That's one of the hardest things you can do, right? And so we've got to rethink that. We've got to actually, when there's like, I don't know, I don't want to dance. Like, we got to embody, let me do this with you. I'm sorry you have to see this, but I'm here with you. Does that make sense, right? Like, and I think that's the best way. Find a space, and let them lead the way, because it's tough, because it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. Okay, I have a friend, Aisha Upchurch. What's up, Aisha? She teaches hip hop dance, and she says, if you can two-step, right? If you can stay grounded, then you can do everything else. So, I'm not good at it, I can't do it. If you can do this, everything else comes from staying grounded, right? And so it's not a matter of sort of remedying anything. It is, I think, opening that space up that has been closed down. Does that make sense? Right? So it's like, okay, well, here we're going to do square dance for some reason. Cool. There's a whole literature on that. That's a different thing. But we got to open that space back up, and we got to protect that space, right, for whatever and how that is.
We have a question over here. We have a question over here.
Actually, I want to direct the question to you, and it's okay. Hi. When I think of what I didn't know when I was younger, and how much more my world has been exposed, whether it's because of, I'm a fan of PBS. PBS, as it opened up different dances from around the world. I love Korean contemporary dancing, which I had no clue about. Probably not something I'll easily find on the internet, because it's not the most cool thing from an American demographic. We got K-pop that's coming in, but that's one slice. And so I wonder, for the kids, how much have they been exposed to even understand what dance is, to be able to say, I don't like dance. Margaret Graham, the contemporary stuff that she was doing back in the day where people thought she was absolutely crazy, sometimes it's having to go back into the past for the kids to show them what they're not being told and what they're not being exposed to see, oh wow, for us to have even gotten to this point, look at what was being done in this time period. But
Right.
also to expand it across the world, not
That's
just
right.
in your own background, but across the world, because there's so much that's going on. And actually, technically, with social media in some ways and the internet, that world opens up. But
Yep.
I think for those of us who are older, we have to teach them what else is there, but we also
Right.
have to educate ourselves about what else is there.
That's right.
To help to expand their minds and those digital points for them to be able to connect.
Yep. And I think that's really important. I think we got time for like one more question. Is like one of the things that's really important is that it's a continuum, right? It's this notion of, as we talk about two things. We talk about Sankofa, right? It is not taboo to go back and get it. You got to bring the folks. You got to bring your history with you, but that's for everybody to sturdy yourself in the present so you can build the future. We also talk about Ubuntu, right? This idea of I am because we are. It takes a village, right? It's not this I think therefore I am, like that Enlightenment style thinking. It's I have my identity because of the community that birthed me and has nurtured me. And that's true, especially as we're like living in this world, like living on the internet. We have a variety, we have access to information, but how do we then make sense of that information? Like, here's this kind of dance, here's real dance, here's other dance, right? And we're just using dance as a symbol here, is that, well, you real dance this way, but there's this other stuff. No, it's all, right? It's all encompassing. We're democratizing this space.
We'll wrap with our last question here.
Yeah. We have one more. Okay. Yeah. What? Here. Okay. I'll go. I promise. I'll go quick.
Okay. It sort of looks like in this process you give a lot of them the space to create their own idea, and then looking at the mid-journey art, I sort of see like this process of polishing
Yes.
Into something that's like,
Right.
as good as what everyone else does. I guess I'm curious, like this mid-journey process, was the student involved in that too, or like,
Yes.
what is the role?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Sorry. What was the role with what I cut you off? Sorry.
Or I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to say I feel like there's giving space, but then there's also sort of providing the tools.
How do you
and,
provide structure? Yeah.
Instruction to like.
It's an iterative design process. Let me get super nerdy. So it's two things. It's an iterative design process. So what she did is, this is not the first thing that popped out of Midjourney. The first thing that popped out of Midjourney was a nightmare, just of design. It was like, here's all the things, and she knew what she wanted, and so she kept refining. She said, okay, no, I want this. No, I want this. No, she needs glasses. No, she needs this. No, she needs this. Yes, she needs this. Too much of that, right? It was refining a vision, right? And so that was really, really important. And she was she was integral to that process, because we didn't type. Like I sat here and she sat there, and she typed the whole thing. She did the whole thing, because that was important. It's her story. It's her vision. It's her thing. And I'm there to guide. She's like, oh, well, what's another word for this? Or how do I put it with this? Or if I put this here first and then do this. And she was iterating, which is the design principle, but she was doing it using these tools.
Hi again. So you mentioned Parable of the Sower.
Yes.
And so my first really quick question, you knew Octavia Butler?
I didn't know Octavia Butler.
Oh, okay.
I know people who knew her.
Okay.
But I didn't know her.
I was like, okay, because I was going to ask you a whole bunch of questions later on.
Well, never mind then. Okay, well, that's fine.
No, but
Okay.
when you mentioned her, and your one thing said, how can we be more empathetic?
Yes.
And so I immediately thought of, the hyper empathy syndrome.
Yep.
In Parable of the Sower.
Correct.
So my question is, how much modeling do you provide for the students? Like, do you give them, I know you give them Lion Man, but
Right.
how much teaching of how you read graphics and text?
Okay. Oh, see, y'all are getting to y'all get my design people, and then also my literacy people. We do close reading. We use a close reading analysis, like
Because
straight
my
up.
college students don't know how to read graphic novels, so I'm wondering what.
No, you said yet though, because they're about to get their lessons, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's it. We go through and we say, all right, here's how you read a comic book. You might not know. I'm not going to assume you know, right? But then what we talk about is, okay, you know how to read a comic book. Now, can you read a comic book? You can go look at a comic book. Can you read a comic book? And not that there's certain moves, but the same way that you do this iterative design process, you go, okay, who made this? Why'd they make it? How'd they make it? Right? What does that mean? Right? We use that close reading model as an analytic tool. So that's the structure, right? So it's not just us like, what do you guys think? It is for a particular reason, so that they can take those pedagogic moves, right? Those cognitive moves, and then apply them to other texts. Oh, y'all are giving me life. Okay. And feel free to reach out. Like, we can talk. Like, I know I'm not going to have any like interesting Octavia Butler anecdotes for you, but maybe I got something interesting to say. But again, reach out to me if the spirit so moves you. I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you for inviting me into the space today. And I love y'all. Keep doing what you're doing. You just keep at it.